Hello, hello, it's Tammy. It's good to see you. I thought I'd do a little addendum to my sensory processing disorder video I did the other day. And that's along the lines of our psychic abilities, you know, the energetic aspect of how we sense one another. You see it a lot in children. When there's one sad child, the next one will become sad, or a happy child and happy. I mean, we can do it even ourselves. Like if we get into a group of people and all of a sudden people are becoming heightened, you know, there's heightened anxiety, heightened anger, we find ourselves becoming amped. This is not an uncommon experience for very many people. And my concern here and my issue with this stems from a conversation I had earlier today with a man on LinkedIn regarding that video that I did, because he brought up the fact that we are very sensitive to one another, and that's not necessarily recognized. And he was absolutely correct. And in fact, I mentioned to him that I suspect that it has everything to do with why my father currently lives with Parkinson's. You see, my dad was a very stoic man. He served for the United States and in the service, and he was in the Navy, and he saw a lot. I don't know at what point he shut down emotionally. It might have started earlier in his life. He's got quite a tragic story. Nevertheless, he, as far as I can remember, ever since I was a little girl, always kind of stuffed it. He never showed much emotion. You talk about poker face, my father had an exceptional poker face. And while it paid off for him at the time, I believe he's paying dearly for it now, because he kept everything inside. He never allowed himself to cry. He very rarely got angry. He never addressed. The only time I ever saw my dad show emotion was around football games, believe it or not. Other than that, he kept it all inside. Even when my youngest sister died at the age of 13, my dad never shed a tear. Today, he is 79 years old, and he shakes like there's no tomorrow. You know, it's almost like he's so full of this energy that he took on. And, you know, it's not just his own emotions that I feel like he denied. It's more important that I believe he saw things, he felt things, but he never wanted to appear weak. Therefore, he never let it on that he had feelings about anything. He just maintained this demeanor that ultimately hurt his body. And this is the part that I really want to get to when it comes to sensory processing. I think a lot of us pick up on one another. You know, like with the tragedies that are currently going on in the world, that happened yesterday in France and last week in Dallas. It's incredibly upsetting, not just, you know, for the whole world, because we don't know what's going on. It's madness. And you cannot deny that it doesn't affect you on an emotional, energetic level through your own thoughts about what's going on, in addition to what we're feeling from other people. And unless we can effectively manage what our bodies are experiencing, it ultimately will come back to get us. And what we really need is for people to be able to process this information that's coming in. I do know in autism, these folks will frequently process things through smell. You know, their sense of touch, their social interaction, they don't care to be touched too much, but their sense of smell is great. They will process things through their vision. But I really want to emphasize the sense of smell, because this is something that people do quite frequently, like I said, in autism, is to process their world by smelling things. And if we were to incorporate our sense of smell into our daily life intentionally, and intentionally using it to process these emotions, you know, I really want to be very pointed and say there's times that we have feelings and we have these emotions and we don't know where they're coming from. we can try to muster up some ideas as to where they're coming from, but we ultimately don't know what the root is. Other times we do, but if we can actually assist our body, allow our bodies to, like I say, process the information coming in an effective way, we offset any potential bad results, defective results, declining results. You get what I'm saying. So this is really the point that I'm trying to make. And like I said, there's ways that we can, sometimes it's through exercise, movement, meditation. But you have to be mindful, you have to be aware of that this is what you're trying to do, is to release. There's plenty of ideas on the internet, with ways to, salt baths, Epsom salt baths, or soak your feet, or go for a walk, or go swimming in the ocean. And, there's plenty of ways to dispel this built up energy. And I really want to emphasize the sense of smell to offset this built up energy. But being, again, aware that you're taking things in and it's unnecessary, because we're all here at this time for a reason, and it's time for us to be able to come together. And in doing so, we have to be able to get out of our own way. And I have found that through the use of just very meaningful steps, such as very specific aromas, you can actually bring a sense of balance and peace to the body, so that you can clear your mind and do things and hear things, if you will, divinely inspired, on what the next step for you to do. Because we're all here in this together, and we're doing this together. We are working to create a divine masterpiece, but we really need to stop harboring all of these unnecessary emotions, undealt with emotions. And when I say, process, it doesn't mean that you have to sit and cry, you have to yell at someone or yell at anyone. It means understand that you're picking up something from someone else. You might be able to define and go, hey, you know what, this wasn't me. I was fine a few minutes ago, and now I'm not. Another great way to start identifying whether or not you're picking up on someone else is, like earlier I was outside and there was a man sitting in his car. He was just parked on the side of the road. It's a busy street. And this woman came up and was sitting in her car, and she was kind of parallel to him. She was just sitting there observing because the traffic was moving slowly. And this man started yelling at her. She wasn't even looking at him. She was just, I'm assuming, waiting. I don't know what she was doing. But he just was not nice. He was rather vile about the entire situation. But when I stood there and observed him, you just in the observation state, you could feel his hurt. That's the way I want to describe it. Even though it's coming out as anger, he was really hurt by something. And what I knew then is it wasn't mine. And so I went and sat outside in nature for a little while, just to kind of just shake it off. And there was some freshly mown grass, and so that aroma kind of brought me back down to ground, and it helped me eliminate the upset that I was feeling from him. So this is what I want to really make an issue of, is knowing how you process, and potentially including your sense of smell in ways of acknowledging and eliminating the negative, the low vibrational feelings and emotions, and being able to restore your sense of peace, so that you have a clear direction where to go next. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say for today, and I don't want to keep repeating myself, so thanks very much for listening. I am planning on doing these little snippets every day as things come to me. I don't want to have to, the long ones are great, but I'm more interested in just something that piques my interest, potentially piquing your interest, and hoping to start a conversation right here on YouTube, or even private messaging me. So have a beautiful evening. And if I don't see you until tomorrow or next week, have a great weekend. Bye now.